Hi, everyone. I'm Sally Lean. Thanks for joining me here on the Lean Into Succeed podcast to hear how my guests have used the formula for success in their area in terms of what they've leaned into, what they've leaned out from, and who they've leaned on along the way. And today it's my great pleasure to invite two amazing barrel racers, mother and daughter team, Tamara Walker and Molly Harper. And we're going to hear about their journey that they've been sharing, as well as Molly's success along the way. So let's invite them onto the stage. Hey, ladies. Hi. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you on. So welcome to the Lean Into Succeed podcast. And first of all, I'll just get you to introduce yourselves a little bit. Maybe Tamara, you'd like to introduce yourself and Molly, and then we'll move on from there.
Yep, I'm Tamara Walker, Molly's mum. I barrel race as well, our whole family rodeos, and yeah.
Amazing. And so, Molly, I understand that you've been a, horse mad girl pretty much all your life. Would that be correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, amazing. So tell me a little bit about, growing up around horses.
Well, Mum got me my first pony for my first birthday, so very young. I haven't been not around horses, and I think it's the best way to grow up with something to do all the time.
I actually would have to agree with you on that one. So, but I didn't get my first horse until I was about 6. So a little bit behind your start. Well, that's amazing, right? Pretty much learning to ride as you could learn to walk. So yeah, just brilliant, right? And Tamara, just for you as a family sharing that experience, I know with your husband as well, and your son. So tell us a little bit about the experience of, growing your family up in a sport that you've loved as well.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's great because you're away every weekend together. You camp together, ride together, eat together. You get to know all their friends, really well. I don't feel like there's many sports that the whole family can do. But yeah, it's really good. I love it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so having everybody around you as you do things together.
Yeah. It's really good.
Super special. Yeah, so Tamara, you are originally from Wagga Wagga, New South Wales. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually where I am right now. And interestingly enough, we met not in Wagga.
No.
We met in Sydney with an amazing personal mentoring opportunity with Dr. John DeMartini. So I know that you've been doing a lot of work with Dr. DeMartini. Would you like to share a little bit about that as well? Because I think that's a background to the mindset that you all bring to, life and your competing as well.
Yeah. So my husband Gav, he started with John probably about 12 years ago. And we've done quite a few breakthroughs and lots of John's work. So we sort of just use that in our daily lives, I guess. The mindset, focus.
Living through our values.
The values is a big one, right? Yeah. Knowing, being really clear on your values and living to them and through them, so important. Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing with teenagers is knowing what their highest values are and helping them live in their highest values.
Yes. Yeah. Great. So, particularly through that troublesome, tumultuous teens. Now, Molly, you're still in your teens. How old are you now?
I'm 17, but I am 18 in a couple of weeks.
Yay! All right. Well, we'll be able to celebrate very, very shortly. Probably about the time that the podcast is coming out, you'll be busy celebrating your 18th birthday. And for our international viewers, that's a big one in Australia because that's the age of adulthood. It's also the age of drinking legally and all those things that come and the responsibilities that come along with it. So happy birthday in advance. And by the time this is published, you'll be celebrating. So that's amazing. So in terms of with yourself, Molly, and building yourself through the levels of barrel racing and your journey. Would you like to just share a little bit about that?
Sure. So we always had horses, and then when I was 7, we went with Gav for his journey to win the Pro Tour, and that was the first time that we really rodeoed like a lot, and that's probably when I started to be like, I want to do this and let me go and everything. And then from there it just kept coming, and the last 3 years I've probably been a lot more dedicated and consistent. Wanted to win more.
Right. Yeah. So instead of it sort of being a hobby, something that you just really enjoyed, you've actually been leaning in and making it, more of a competitive basis for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have finals like through the APRA that you it goes on how much money that you win throughout the year for the juniors and for the open competitors. So it's a lot better in Victoria now, like money-wise, but like a few years ago when Molly started to get competitive, like you really had to travel north to win enough money to be able to
make the
finals. They take the top 10 in Australia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, like, in Queensland, they might have $500 up for a junior event, and down here they might have only had $200. Whereas when now it's got a lot better. The prize money's a lot better down south, I guess you would say.
It's more equal.
More even. So you don't have to travel as hard, but you've still really got to travel to be able to make the top 10.
Yeah, I see you often at different events, and this and that, so all your different comps and things. Amazing. Yeah, it really takes something, to be out and about and doing that. What's the championship sort of schedule like in the year?
So for the juniors, it goes from the 1st of May to the 30th of April, so a full year. And so we're nearly at the end. But yeah, it's pretty much you have not many days off. You go, and then
go as far as Mount Isa.
Yeah, we go from the bottom of Victoria to the top of Queensland and everywhere in between.
Wow. So for people who don't know Australia's geography very well, that's a lot of traveling, a lot of miles or kilometers covered from the southern state of Victoria, eastern seaboard, through New South Wales and all the way up into Queensland. So wow, heaps of journeying, packing up and moving to the next one and all that sort of thing. And so
we'll drive.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
We'll drive 3 days to one rodeo. Like it takes us 3 days to get there.
Yeah.
And do one.
Yeah. 3 days of driving for 2 days or 1 day of competition?
For about 16 seconds.
Maybe 15 go really. Right. Yeah. And just on one day, everyone's through the event. It's not like a
sometimes
weekend.
Mount Isa goes over 4 days. Most of them are 1 or 2 days.
Mm-hmm. And you've got one shot out the gate, right?
One shot.
Wow. So no pressure or anything to be on form when they say go, you've got to be on form. Yeah. Amazing.
And you've got to be ready.
Yeah. And so, I guess to make this all available and to make it all happen, you still, being young yourself, Molly, you've managed and set things up in terms of your schooling and all that sort of thing. I know that you were sharing a little bit about that with me earlier. Would you like to share with everyone, or both of you perhaps share a little bit about how you've set it up so that, you can make this lifestyle work for yourselves?
Yeah. I never liked school, simply for the fact that it interfered with my riding. And so Mum and I looked at it for a few years to go homeschooling. And then when I started high school, we had to homeschool because of COVID. So we were locked down. I'm pretty sure I went to in class for 2 months out of my whole high school life. And so when we did get locked down and that I just rode every day and did my schoolwork, and then we went north as soon as we were allowed to leave the state.
As soon as they opened the border.
As soon as they opened the border, we left Victoria, and that was definitely the best decision because I wouldn't be where we are now. Had the opportunities and the time to train on myself with the flexibility of homeschooling. I wouldn't
Yes.
be.
Yeah, amazing. And also, just to clarify for anyone listening or viewing this, Victoria had the longest lockdowns in the whole of Australia. Luckily, you weren't in the city of Melbourne, okay, being out in
We're pretty
we would have coped.
At least you could be
Our
outside
life-
of the property.
Yeah. Day to day, the first lockdown was 9 months, and like our day to day didn't change too much. Like I obviously couldn't go to work, and Molly couldn't go to school, and Gav could still go to work, so his life didn't change. But we were so grateful that we lived on a farm and we could still ride. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a friend
It was
who
like a
is in
dream come true.
yeah.
it was perfect, really, for Molly.
So many people tried to buy properties outside the city during that time, and then just to have space and be able to be out. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And so, what's been I guess the things that you've really had to work on along the way, Molly, in terms of developing yourself in this area?
Well, probably one of the biggest ones for me is when I was maybe 12.
10 to 12.
10 to 12, I was actually petrified of horses.
Of competing.
Of competing.
Okay, yeah.
Going fast. Which is quite, like, that doesn't really happen much.
She went through a real stage when they'd call her name. So she was fine at home. She wasn't scared of horses at home, and she'd ride and practice, and then she'd get to the competition and they'd call her name. And once they call your name, if you don't go in, you're scratched. Like, there's no second chances.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd call her name, and when that bit of adrenaline would hit, she'd just panic and jump off a horse. And I mean, we drove to Tamworth and she jumped off a horse.
We would drive 3 days and I would jump off my horse.
But it was just that, that hit of adrenaline, when they call your name, and she just couldn't manage it. So she had to work really hard on that.
Yeah, I had to, that little fear, which I'm not really sure what it was still, but had to get over that. And now I actually don't get nervous, or the adrenaline isn't really there, but I'm grateful for that now.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, who knows if you don't really remember your trigger. I remember my pony when I was at Pony Club waiting, for the barrel race or one of the novelty type races. He would, rear up and just get all excited because he knew what was coming. So
yeah.
maybe there was something like that, like both of, the rider and the get a bit excited. They know what's coming. So I watched some of the, go ahead.
And a friend of mine said to me one day, like, the want will overtake the fear. Just keep turning up. Yeah,
great advice, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because people say to me, I say, well, you don't have to do this because I do it, like, and she goes, no, but I want to do it. Like, she wanted to do it, but she just would get overwhelmed. So that was that took us a couple of years, didn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it just, you never know, right? What might happen. Amazing. Look how far you've come since then.
Oh,
yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about going international, ladies. It's gone beyond just 3 states of Australia. Tell us more about that journey.
I kind of just had the idea one day that I wanted to go to the national finals, and of course that's not in Australia, that's over in America. So that's where America came about. And then I had friends go to college a few years ago, and then I was like, oh, well, maybe college would be cool.
You got asked last year.
Yeah, I got asked to go on the Australian team last year, so that was my first kind of competition over there, and that's when I was like, yeah, I'm going. No one can stop me from going. Obviously I had I want to go to the national finals in my head, and so hopefully try and get there.
Amazing. So you've set that goal for yourself, and now you're working towards what's your big goal that you really want to aim towards now?
First would be to get to college. It's the first goal. I have lots of little goals, constantly making new ones and achieve and keep going up and up. But my biggest one would to be win a world title.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay. So become world champion.
Yeah.
Barrel race would be pretty incredible. So that's a big one to have. And I love that you said that you set a lot of little goals along the way, because we often sort of think of success as an end point. Like, I'm going to have this thing one day and everything will be great and I'll just stop there. But of course it's not, is it? It's an ongoing process. Some people say it's like a mountain with no top, because the higher you climb, then you said and you're climbing higher and higher and higher, right? So amazing. So that's great that you are continuing to build those goals along the way.
Yeah, and she's had goals here, like in Australia, that she's wanted to achieve, and she's achieved quite a few of those. Like, she won the Australian Barrel Horse Association, has a big finals. It was in September last year, and she won that out of 200 and something juniors, 240, I think. That was her big goal. She really wanted to win that as a junior, and then this year she's coming into her finals, and yeah, she hopes to win that, like the rodeo final.
Yep.
Wow. Amazing. So, and you've now got yourselves a horse over there. Tell us all about that too. Like, what an amazing journey.
So Bobby is originally from Australia, and Montana imported him over there 3 years ago, and he's been living over there in Texas mainly and living his best life. Spoiled. But he's currently with one of the top girls in the world, and he's going on tour with her for the summer until I get to college in August. But we decided to buy Bobby in December, late last year.
Yeah, we were lucky enough when Molly went over for the Junior Worlds and the IFYR that Montana let us hire him, lease him, whatever you want to call it. Like, she brought him up for Molly to ride. And then she let us know that she was going to move back to Australia and offered him to us. While we're there, she found out she had a scholarship.
Yeah, when I was there, I found out about my scholarship, and I said to Montana, I was like, oh, it'd be so funny if we bought your trailer and then you could leave Bobby in there for me, jokingly. But now we've got Bobby, and mostly what I'm most excited for is to get over and ride Bobby again.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, and Bobby's an Australian stock horse, is that right?
Quarter horse.
Quarter horse, Australian quarter horse. Okay. Yeah, right. Well, amazing. I don't know how many Australian bred quarter horses there might be in America. I'm sure there's lots of quarter horses, but not Australian bred ones. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's got an accent.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But by now, I'm sure he'll have a bit of a southern drawl happening. His Texan drawl, because he's been over there for a while.
He's definitely fitted in well.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like he's very good natured as well.
Yes,
he is.
He's very kind.
Yeah. So I think we've got a clip that we might be able to play of Bobby in action. So let's see him, and you can tell us about that after we play the clip. Wow. I tell you what, I'm glad those races are only short, because I don't know about you, but I hold my breath.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
So tell us about that. What was happening there, and where were they?
So that's Bobby and Brittany Posey. They're at Houston, which is one of the biggest, highest paying rodeos over there, winter rodeos. And so Brittany asked me if she could run him there, because she knew that he would like it there, and just other factors. But we were like, yeah, sure. And so they actually did extremely well for not knowing each other, and it was just really cool to watch and know that your horse can actually do that. It's pretty incredible.
He won 2 rounds there.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing.
And what was his final placing?
He was 3rd overall in the average and in the short go.
Wow. So you're well on your way there. Half the team is already getting lots of experience, and you'll be over there shortly to join him.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. At least we know that he's fast.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, well, yeah, congratulations on that for for Bobby, and yeah, I bet you've got just got an itch to hurry up and get over there and be able to
Definitely.
and
she's
compete
got to wait
yourself.
till August.
Yeah. And so, where will you be based when you're over there, Molly?
I'll be in Texas. I'm going to college in Odessa, so in Odessa I'll be.
Yeah,
So,
amazing. And you'll be able to ride?
Yep. Bobby and I will be out there, so that'll be good.
And as you would know, when we're living our dream and really making things happen, there's things that you have to lean out from. That's my term, for the formula for success. But what are some of the things that you've maybe not been able to do that perhaps other friends who aren't living this sort of lifestyle get to do, that you've had to give up or not do along the way?
I would definitely say I would pick over going out with my friends. I'd pick to stay home and maybe go to the gym or go and ride my horses or whatever it is. But I don't.
Go to bed early.
Yeah, I don't typically choose to go out very often, unless it's for something special. Then yeah, of course I'll go. But I'm quite mindful of that kind of thing.
And Molly doesn't feel like she misses out. She just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Like, she wants to get up at 3 a.m. and give her horse what it needs to compete the next day. And then again at 6 a.m. Like, she's so dedicated that she doesn't want to be out till midnight then having to get up and do that. Like, she just doesn't want to do.
Yeah. And there's probably things, when you're competing, there'd be things that you're missing, like maybe like birthday parties or social events and things like that, that people back home are all doing, but you're away competing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And sometimes family will say, oh, but it's special, or it's this or it's that. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Things come up that are special and maybe higher on their values, but this is the highest thing on our values, and this is what we want to do. So we've luckily learnt through DeMartini methods that,
you can say no to
please yourself instead of trying to please everybody else. And sometimes other people might think we're selfish, but we're happy and we're living our best life. So that's the most important thing. Yeah,
well, and and on track to be doing the things and keeping on developing yourselves in your chosen area. So well, congratulations, because it does take it takes courage, and it takes dedication to keep on doing the things that really matter to you, because a lot of people in life don't have that level of dedication, right? They don't understand it.
Yeah,
so it can be hard sometimes.
Yeah, and we've had to learn to understand it. Like, we've had to work through it. Like, you definitely can feel some guilt sometimes. Like, I've been away from work a lot. COVID again helped me get off the floor. Like, it's not something I ever thought would happen. And I had to work through that with a facilitator and learn not to be guilty and feel bad for not being there. But yeah, Molly's high on my values, so I want to support her as much as I can.
So Tamara, in terms of your own, we talked a little bit about Molly's schooling and how you've made that happen. With your your career, tell us a little bit about your background, where you've come from, and how you've made it work for yourself to be doing what you're doing.
Well, I guess again, COVID probably did us both a favour. So I moved to Benalla about 9 or 10 years ago, and I had my salon in Wagga that I'd always worked full-time in. And so I cut back to 3 days a week originally, and I travelled up and stayed in Wagga and worked 3 days and would come back, and then I cut back to 2 days. So I did that for 7 years, and then when COVID hit and they wouldn't let me cross the border because we weren't class essential, luckily enough that I had a lot of staff. I think I had about 13 or 15 at the time, and the business was used to running itself a few days a week without me, and so that got me off the floor. We had that first lockdown at home for 9 months, and then as soon as there was talk about them opening up the borders, I thought, well, I don't really want to go to Wagga, because then I'd be in Wagga and I'd have my family here. So we packed up and we went to Queensland.
We just did the opposite of both.
Literally, did a midnight runner. We had the trailer packed ready because it was only open for a short window. And anyway, we got across the border and honestly thought we were only going to be gone like a month because we just thought it was all going to settle down, but ended up it was
5 months.
4 or 5 months we were gone.
Locked out of your own state, right?
And in Queensland, it was like COVID didn't exist, so it was great.
Yeah.
Well, where we were.
Yeah. So, but yeah, again, like I had to work through, like you felt bad not being there. So I did a lot of work on that, and yeah. But my staff, I still go up there a lot now, and my staff love, I think, the independence, and not having someone looking over their shoulders 24/7. So
yeah, it takes something to create that, as the boss or the manager, right? To empower people to be doing all the things that they need to be doing and taking that on.
And let go. Like you just got to let go of that control, and it's been good for me too. Yeah.
Great. Amazing. So in terms of learnings along the way, do you guys have a saying or some sort of something you'd like to share?
Yeah, I've got some. So one of mine, it's not something that really inspires me, but almost just something that I think about a little bit, about the journey. But it's your dreams and goals are a size too big, so you have room to grow into them.
Ooh, I love that. Your dreams and goals are a size too big.
Yeah.
So you can grow into them. Wow. I love that. I haven't heard that before. So one thing I have heard along the way is about, a little bit about the journey as well. As we grow, we can't go back and wear the small shoes that we've left behind us. So even though those shoes felt very comfortable, once we grow and grow beyond them, you can't go back and put the small shoes on again. So I love that sort of complementary part of you saying that the dream is one size bigger, because we need to grow into that as well. Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Molly. And Tamara, do you have any advice for parents, from your own journey and, becoming a mum to a future world champion barrel racer, an amazing, competitor yourself and with your whole family? So any advice?
I think just spend as much time as you can with them. They grow up quick.
They do, don't they?
And I think listen to them, and whether they want to be a world champion or they just want to play cricket down the park, it doesn't matter. But listen to what your kids' highest values are, what they're interested in, and try and do something with them that they enjoy. It's not just about you all the time. So and I just don't be afraid to take them out of school and go travel or be adventurous with them. Like let them make some decisions and say, we've got $100 for this weekend. What do you want to go and do? And go camping or, whatever it might be. But just spend time with them, I think.
I love that. Yeah, that's possibly the most precious thing is time and actively spending time. Given that life is so busy, we do tend to spend a little bit of time like this, kind of being distracted, which is not 100% active time with our kids, right? And then the other thing is, like, as you pointed out, the active listening for what they want, and not then overlaying our judgment of whether something's good or bad or whatever.
And being
deeply
in a car with them, I find they just talk more. Like a lot of my friends say, like, oh, my teenage daughter won't get out of her bedroom. It's like, well, she's uninspired, she's bored. Like, ask her what she'd like to do and go do it with her and get in the car and drive 1,000 k's and talk.
Yes.
Most kids
yes,
will drive 1,000 k's.
A few friends who do that. They say, can't get the car, we're going for a drive, just so that they can get there. Particularly, I've heard, I don't know whether it's true or not, but that it works well for boys to be out, because they're looking forward. They don't have to look you in the eye. They can just sort of look at the scenery and chat about things without feeling the pressure of being, sort of looking straight somebody in the face. So, yeah.
The other thing I probably, I guess as a parent, and I see this a lot, is parents over-parenting. Like let kids make their own decisions. Molly's been making her own decisions for a long time, like probably since she's about 12 or 13, paying her own entry fees, being responsible for horses herself. I think definitely letting them feel like they're trusted, I guess. And, you know, they don't make mistakes, but, you know, obviously being at rodeos, there's a lot of parties and things go on. And, you know, I only ever had 2 rules. I just said to Molly, like, you know, respect yourself and don't leave the grounds. Like, I never had curfews, but honestly, like, she was always the first one in bed. But I think that's why. I think if I had said, you know, be home at 10 o'clock and then they're having fun, then they've got to be, you know, come back or whatever it might be. I just think let them feel trusted, I think.
Yes. Yeah, amazing. I love that too. Thank you for sharing that. It is, and especially in this what we now call this age of safetyism, where you know people feel it's not safe for the kids to go outside. It's not safe for them to just go to the local park. Like you know, when I was growing up, it was certainly not the case, right? So, but finding ways to allow them to have at least some freedom, even if you live in the busy city, you know, with healthy boundaries and expectations, because that's how, you know, you start to learn responsibility. I remember seeing when I was a horsey girl, turning up to Pony Club and gymkhanas and then building my way up into the showing in the regional shows. There were some kids who were a little bit precious, I could say, you know, who would sort of sit in the car while mum, you know, or mum and dad did everything. And then sort of, you know, they're in their like nice little riding outfit and lifted, you know, basically, you know, from the car onto the horse. So there's no dust on them. So I don't think it sounds like the kind of upbringing that you've had, Mol, in terms of learning to do the things and manage everything yourself and being responsible. I think I love that too. When I look back, I'm so grateful that my parents were so super supportive and always, you know, there and made things happen for me. But I had to be the one driving it all and, you know, really doing the work at the end of the day. So, yeah.
And I was the same. I was exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. All right. So any last bits of advice that you'd like to, bits of wisdom to share before we go?
She's got another saying.
I feel like it. Okay,
go on.
I don't really have anything.
Read that one. That
No?
I just did.
I thought that was a different one. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I've got like just to be yourself and to be true to what you want to do. It doesn't. No one else matters, really.
Love that. Be yourself and be true to what you want to be doing. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you both for making time to jump on today, despite, you know, some internet and little tech challenges we've got there. So I really appreciate it. And I was really grateful to have met you both, and Gav, and what's your stepson's name?
Waylon and Jesse.
Waylon, that's right. Who was, at the experience.
Jesse was on the boat.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, amazing. You know, it was funny when I was saying I'm from Wagga and I'd met Gavin. He said, "No, my wife's from Wagga," and I'm like, "What?" So apparently all roads lead to Wagga somehow, you know.
That's it, exactly.
All right. Well, amazing. Thank you both for, you know, just sharing all of your experience and wisdom today, and good luck. We're going to be cheering you and Bobby on, Molly. You'll be hearing us shout all the way from down under. So yeah, all the best with the next few months, and then starting fresh in August. What an amazing journey you have ahead of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, thank you all for joining us today on this amazing podcast where everyone is sharing the things that they've leaned into, leaned out from, and who they've leaned on along the way in terms of their journey towards succeeding in their areas. And as I pointed out before, we don't talk about success because it's success itself, because it's often thought of some sort of endpoint, but it's not. As Molly was saying, you keep making new goals along the way. As you achieve one, you can make a new goal. So we keep learning and growing and learning and growing inside of those goals as we go in life. So just wanted to have these two amazing ladies on to join us today because of the journey that they've been on and being willing to share. So in terms of our own journeys, particularly as teens, there are so many challenges along the way, and there's so much to overcome in order to keep on, following our dreams in life. In terms of the teenage journey, there's so many challenges and things that we face along the way. And not everybody makes it still while they're a teenager, that we have to find ways to overcome those challenges and do the things and become the best that we can be along the way. So this is my way of sharing with you and with the world the success stories and the succeeding that people are having in their lives. Take the learnings that everyone is sharing and make them yours. Thank you for listening.